This is the STV News. Good evening. Alex Salmond says the demands made by his party to support Humza Yousaf in a vote of no confidence are reasonable and focus on what he calls the people's agenda. His party's only MSP, Ash Regan, appears to hold the decisive vote. That's following the collapse of the Butte House Agreement. Well, meanwhile, STV News understands a meeting today between SNP ministers and the Greens failed to find a breakthrough. As Ollie Dickinson reports.
When Humza Yousaf and the SNP withdrew from the Butte House Agreement last week, it set off a chain of events that have left his future as First Minister hanging by a thread. Facing a vote of no confidence in his minority leadership, his only hope may now lay with Ash Regan, the Alba MSP and former SNP leadership candidate. She'll meet the First Minister this week to set out the political price for her support.
She'll be accepting that invitation and taking with her what I think are very positive proposals for how the government of Scotland could be improved. And these are a return to independence as the greatest priority of the Scottish Government, protection of women and girls in Scotland, and how people can be reassured that there's going to be a new outlook on that crucial subject. And above all, I think a return to what let's call the people's agenda, away from identity politics and towards the things that really matter, like housing, health, education, and above all, jobs.
Alex Salmond says reports today of a deal hinging on an electoral pact are wide of the mark. Even so, one SNP MP tweeted that a deal with Alba would go down like a cup of cold sick, but they might have to find a way to stomach it after the Scottish Greens doubled down on their rejection of appeals to work with the current First Minister.
Humza's individual decisions, the decisions he made rather than the nature of the SNP government, that's where the problem lies. We stand ready to work as a constructive opposition party as we have in the past if a First Minister emerges who can command the majority of the Parliament, and he or she can only do that with trust. Humza Yousaf, I'm afraid he can't.
The Greens have indicated they would consider working on a case-by-case basis in the future with the SNP if a new leader is installed. But Patrick Harvey also had this warning.
I think if the SNP were to make the choice that they rejected last year in the leadership contest, to lurch to the right, to go for someone who is economically and socially conservative, I think that would be a further deeply serious misstep, a serious mistake, and it would be incapable as well of commanding a majority.
Elsewhere, the Scottish Liberal Democrats have confirmed they won't meet with the First Minister and have called for him to go. Nobody from the SNP was made available for interview today. The future of the First Minister hangs in the balance as the vote of no confidence approaches. Ollie Dickinson, STV News.
Well, to the day's other stories now, and thousands of kilt walkers have taken to the streets as they raised money for a number of charities as part of the annual event today. More than 14,000 people took part in 3 different walks in support of 900 different charities. The longest route took walkers the 23 miles from Glasgow Green at 8 AM to the banks of Loch Lomond at Balloch this afternoon.
The bottom line with the kilt walk is everybody who's here today walking has got a story. Every community across Scotland has got a deserving cause, and since we got involved over 8 years ago, over 3,300 different Scottish charities, 166,000 kilt walkers and £46 million raised.
Well done to them. Now finally to football, and Celtic maintained their 3-point lead at the top of the Scottish Premiership with a 2-1 win over Dundee this afternoon. In their first league game since the league split, James Forrest opened the scoring with this volley before adding a second to put Brendan Rodgers' side in a commanding position. But this late deflected effort from Antonio Portales set up a tense finish at Dens Park. Meanwhile, in the earlier kick-off, Rangers beat St Mirren 2-1. James Bolton's own goal gave Rangers the lead before Mikel Manderon's header brought the Buddies level. But as Cyril Desser's second-half goal proved the difference between the sides. Well, that's where we'll have to leave it for this evening. We'll be back with updates from 6 AM on Good Morning Britain. Whatever you get up to, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye for now.